Imagine buying a house at 40 and paying off the mortgage until you're 90. Sounds absurd, right? Yet that's exactly what could happen if Trump's most controversial proposal becomes reality. Last weekend, the president floated an idea that sent everyone into a frenzy: 50-year mortgages. On paper, it seems brilliant. Lower payments. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you the exact formula that tells you whether you're about to throw away tens of thousands of dollars. I used to think buying was always the right move, but when I saw these numbers, everything changed. Let's talk about what's actually happening in the housing market right now, because it's completely insane. The median home price in America sits at $430,000. Sounds expensive, right? But here's the kicker. To qualify for that median-priced home, you need to be making $106,000 a year. The problem? The median household income is only $80,000. We're talking about a $26,000 gap between what people earn and what they need to earn just to buy an average house. Think about that for a second. The math literally doesn't work for most Americans anymore. And it gets worse. Mortgage rates are stuck between 6.2% and 7% right now. Let me show you how brutal this really is. Imagine the exact same house, same price, everything identical. Back when rates were 2.75%, your monthly payment was $1,765. Today, with rates at 6.8%, you're paying over $3,000. Same house, same price, but your payment almost doubled overnight. And here's what's driving people crazy. Inventory is actually increasing. More homes are hitting the market, but prices, they're barely budging. You'd think more supply would mean lower prices, but that's not what's happening. Existing homeowners are trapped. They locked in those beautiful 3% rates, and they know if they sell and buy another house, their payment more than doubles. So they're staying put, which keeps pressure on prices even as more homes come available. But wait, because there's something nobody talks about when they're selling you the dream of homeownership. Let's talk about the $21,000 per year that vanishes into thin air. You heard that right. Beyond your mortgage payment, you're dropping an extra $21,400 every single year just to own that house. Here's the breakdown that'll make your stomach turn. Maintenance and repairs? $8,800 annually. That's your HVAC breaking down, your roof needing work, the water heater dying at the worst possible time. Utilities? $4,494. Property taxes? Another $4,316, and they go up every year. Homeowners insurance? $2,267, and in some states, it's way worse. Let me paint you a picture. You buy a $400,000 house. Congratulations. But in your first 10 years, you're not spending $400,000. You're spending over $600,000 when you add up everything. The mortgage interest alone over 20 years? That's another $350,000 going straight to the bank. Your $400,000 house just cost you $750,000, and we haven't even talked about the down payment you could have invested elsewhere. Now, depending on where you live, this gets even more brutal. Hawaii? You're paying $34,573 per year in these extra costs. California? Over $24,000. New Jersey will absolutely destroy your budget. The only places where you might survive? West Virginia at $12,579. Mississippi under $15,000. But even then, you're still hemorrhaging money every single month. And here's where it gets really interesting, because something wild is happening in the rental market right now. In 32 of the 50 largest cities in America, renting costs less than buying. Let that sink in. We've been told our entire lives that renting is throwing money away, that buying builds wealth. But the numbers are screaming the opposite story in 2/3 of major markets. Oakland, California? You're paying $1,564 more every single month as a homeowner compared to renting. That's $18,700 a year you're losing just for the privilege of saying, "I own this." And there's a dirty secret behind why renting is suddenly so cheap. Remember those homeowners locked into 3% mortgages? They're becoming landlords. They're paying $1,765 on their mortgage so they can rent out their place for $2,000 and still make a profit. Meanwhile, if you bought that same house today, you'd need to charge $3,000 just to break even. How are you supposed to compete with that? The rental market is artificially cheap right now because these legacy homeowners have such massive margins. Rents are actually dropping in many markets while home prices keep climbing. It's a complete inversion of what we've seen for decades. So who should actually buy a house in 2025? This is where everything comes together, and I'm going to give you the formula that changes everything. It's called the buy-to-rent ratio, and it's stupidly simple but incredibly powerful. Take the price of the house and divide it by 12 times the monthly rent. That's it. Here's how to read the number. If your result is under 15, buy immediately. Between 16 and 20, that's the gray zone where it depends on your personal situation. Over 21, renting wins, no question. Let me show you a real example. $435,000 house. Monthly rent is $2,100. 2,100 times 12 equals 25,200. 400 to 35,000 divided by 25,200 equals 17.26. That's in the gray zone. But here's what makes this formula so valuable. It cuts through all the emotion and gives you a cold, hard number. No more wondering, no more guessing, just math. This one calculation can save you $50,000 or more over 5 years by helping you make the right choice for your market. However, there's another factor that's even more critical than the ratio, and most people completely ignore it: time. The break-even point used to be 3 to 5 years. If you plan to stay in your house longer than that, buying made sense. But that's changed dramatically. In many cities today, you need to stay 15 to 28 years before buying becomes cheaper than renting. I ran the numbers for a house right here in Las Vegas. The calculator told me buying only becomes cheaper than renting after 28 years. That's basically when you've paid off the entire mortgage. And that's even accounting for 3% inflation and 3% annual rent increases. If you're planning to move in less than 10 years, you're probably making a mistake by buying. Think about the transaction costs, closing costs, realtor fees at 6%, moving expenses, repairs to sell. You're easily dropping $30,000 to $40,000 when you sell. If you haven't lived there long enough for the home to appreciate beyond those costs, you just lost money, big money. And here's the risky bet a lot of people are making. They're buying now hoping they can refinance later when rates drop. That's gambling with hundreds of thousands of dollars. What if rates don't drop? What if they stay elevated for another 5 years? You're stuck with that 6.8% rate, and your math falls apart. Let me tell you what's actually going to happen over the next 5 years, because the predictions might surprise you. Mortgage rates are not going back to 3%. I know everyone wants to believe they will, but the reality is we're looking at 6.5 to 7.5% for the foreseeable future. The Federal Reserve has made it clear. Higher rates are here to stay until inflation is completely under control. Home prices? They're not crashing either. Expect slow, steady growth of 3 to 4% annually. Not the boom years, but not a bust. It's going to be boring, slow appreciation that barely keeps up with inflation. Baby boomers will start exiting their homes in larger numbers by 2035, which will flood the market with inventory. But that's a decade away, and if you're making a decision today, you can't bank on something that far out. Here's something nobody's talking about. Immigration policy changes are going to impact construction. Fewer workers means slower building, which means less supply, which keeps prices elevated. And insurance costs? They're exploding. Up 48% since 2020 nationally. In Miami, 72% increase. Some insurance companies are straight up leaving California and Florida. That's not a temporary blip. That's the new reality of climate risk being priced into your monthly costs. So when does it actually make sense to buy in today's market? I'm going to give you 5 conditions, and you need all 5. Not 4, not 3, all 5. If even one is missing, you should seriously consider renting instead. Condition number 1. Your credit score is above 750. This isn't optional. The difference between a 700 credit score and an 800 credit score is $300 per month on a median-priced home. That's $3,600 per year, over $100,000 over the life of the loan. If your score is below 750, your first job is fixing that, not buying a house. Condition number 2. You're staying put for at least 10 to 15 years, preferably 20 plus. This is non-negotiable. The transaction costs and slow appreciation mean you need time for the math to work. If there's any chance you'll need to move for a job, family, or lifestyle in the next decade, you're better off renting. Condition 3. The rent for a comparable place costs at least 70% of what your mortgage payment would be. If rent is half the cost of buying, you're just setting money on fire by purchasing. Run the numbers. Be honest with yourself. Condition 4. You have 20% down payment saved, plus a 6-month emergency fund on top of that. If you're putting down less than 20%, you're paying PMI, which is just more money disappearing. And if you don't have 6 months of expenses saved after the down payment, you're one job loss away from foreclosure. Don't do it. Condition 5. You're buying in the right state or city. Some markets still make sense. Parts of Arizona, selective areas in Florida, Texas, and certain cities. But avoid the expensive coasts unless you're wealthy. A house in Newark costs you double what the same house in Surprise, Arizona costs to own annually. Location isn't just about the purchase price, it's about the total cost of ownership. If you have all 5 conditions, buying might make sense. If you're missing even one, pump the brakes and reconsider. And now let me tell you about the 4 mistakes that will cost you over $100,000. These are the errors I see people making every single day. Mistake number 1. Buying now and hoping to refinance later. This is pure gambling. You're betting that rates will drop significantly in the next few years. What if they don't? What if rates stay at 6.5% for another decade like they did in the 2000s? Your entire financial plan collapses. Never buy a house based on what might happen. Buy based on what you can afford today at today's rates. Mistake number 2. Not calculating the $16,000 to $21,000 in annual costs beyond your mortgage. People look at the mortgage payment and think that's it. Then they're blindsided by property taxes, insurance increases, the AC dying, the roof needing replacement. Suddenly, they're drowning in expenses they never budgeted for. Always assume the worst-case scenario and budget for it. Mistake number 3. Buying in the wrong city. A house in San Francisco or New York might cost you $40,000 per year in hidden costs. The same size house in Nashville or Boise, maybe $20,000. That $20,000 difference over 20 years is $400,000. Location determines whether you're slowly building wealth or slowly going broke. Mistake number 4. Believing the Wall Street conspiracy theory. You've probably seen the headlines. BlackRock is buying every house. Corporations are driving up prices. Hedge funds are destroying the market. It's mostly nonsense. Here's the reality. Institutional investors buy about 2.8% of single-family homes. Mom-and-pop landlords with fewer than 10 properties? They're 12% of the market. 75% of homes are bought by regular people like you who want to live there. The truth is, corporations aren't competing with you for that 3-bedroom house in the suburbs. They're buying distressed properties in bulk, fixing them up, and renting them out. They're not bidding 20% over asking on turnkey homes. That doesn't make financial sense for them. The real reason prices are high? Low supply, restrictive zoning, high construction costs, and millions of regular buyers competing for too few homes. Blaming Wall Street is easy, but it misses the actual problem. So here's where we land. Use the buy-to-rent ratio for your specific market. Calculate every single dollar of the $21,000 in annual costs. Be brutally honest about your timeline. Aim for 15 years minimum. Check all 5 conditions before you sign anything. And understand that in many American cities right now, renting is the financially smarter move for 2025. I know that goes against everything you've been told. The American dream, building equity, owning a piece of land. But dreams don't pay the bills. Math does. And the math today heavily favors renting in more places than it has in decades. Even if the Fed lowers interest rates to 2% next year, mortgage rates might stay above 6% because they're tied to long-term bonds and inflation expectations, not just the Fed's overnight rate. This happened from 2000 to 2003 and again from 2010 to 2013. The Fed cut rates, but mortgages barely moved. Your overall economic outlook, inflation fears, and bond market sentiment say more about mortgage rates than any Fed decision. Maybe I'm completely wrong about all this, but I'm just asking you to do the math, consider every factor, and make the decision that's right for you and your financial situation. For me personally, unless I'm getting a 30% discount on a home's price, it makes more financial sense to rent than buy, and that's something I never thought I'd say. But that's what the numbers tell me, and I trust numbers more than I trust feelings when it comes to the biggest financial decision of my life. Do your homework, run your numbers, and make the choice that lets you sleep at night knowing you made the smart play.